This next part of our series is what we call umbrella 6, or sometimes it's called overhead 6. In the Inosanto system, this is in the 6-count family. This would be the Inward-Backhand-Inward series that Guro Dan usually likes to show. So I'm going to start in my closed position, and similar to Heaven 6 where I did inward, backhand, backhand, I'm going to start in this closed position, but this time I'm going to go inward, backhand, and inward, and I'm here on my other side. So my first strike, this count 1, is going to travel all the way around. It's called an umbrella 6 because the path of my weapon is going to form an umbrella around me. So some people will make a distinction between kind of a roofing motion and an umbrella motion. In the Inosanto system, we define the umbrella motions as motions that would travel around the body or around the head. So in this case, the umbrella 6, I'm going to go inward, backhand, inward, and on the other side, inward, backhand, inward. Again, inward, backhand, inward, and inward, backhand, inward. So ultimately, you really want this to be, instead of 3 counts on one side and 3 counts on another side, you would really like it to be a continuous flow, almost like a metronome. So we have inward, backhand, inward, inward, backhand, inward, and so forth. But of course, in the beginning, you may find yourself doing an umbrella 3, pausing, and umbrella 3 on this side, and pausing back on this side. Either way is fine when you're first learning. Ultimately, this is really just all of these Sinawali drills are just to build the vocabulary, the gross motor motions, and the coordination so that you can move and do other things in context in the application. Now, when we do this umbrella 6, Guro Dan also likes to show us a couple different versions of it. So the kind of standard version would be on the heaven line with all my strikes to the head, both my weapons pointing up towards the heavens. Inward, backhand, inward, inward, backhand, inward. With my first inward traveling all the way around. So from the side, I'll go inward, backhand, inward, inward, backhand, inward. Some people like Guro Daniel Lanero, he really keeps everything tight, which I really like. So they kind of contour his body when he does this. I'm probably not as, I know I'm not as good as him, but you can do it that way. You can also make these very broad kind of motions. And in these motions, this would be what Guro Dan would call like a Redondo version of an umbrella 6. So the Redondo can be like an umbrella where I'm going around my body or going around my head, but instead of this very tight kind of motion here, the Redondo is really just a big strike that travels in a big circle. So the big circle can have the tip dipped, or it can be more on like a kind of a flat plane. So a Redondo version of this umbrella 6 would be inward, backhand, inward, inward, backhand, inward, with very big kind of motions, as opposed to an umbrella 6 where everything kind of stays in tight and the umbrella is covering my neck and my head from behind. Okay, so the Redondo 6 version, or Redondo version of our umbrella 6, may be these kind of big motions here. Okay, we also do a version where I can keep things in front. So the Redondo version of umbrella 6, or sometimes Redondo 6, isn't an umbrella at all, and the Redondo pretty much stays in front. So I still make my big Redondo motion, but I really keep it pretty much in the front of my body. I don't really take it all the way around like this. I keep it in the front of my body. Okay, so this would be a Redondo variation of an umbrella 6. Okay, going back to our standard umbrella 6, I have this just like this, traveling around my body. We can also do a crashing or roofing version of umbrella 6. So all these are versions of inward, backhand, inward that no longer really become umbrella 6 because I'm not using the umbrella kind of motion, but we'll use the umbrella 6 structure as the base. Okay, so we kind of covered a Redondo 6. Now this would be kind of like a inward, backhand, inward, but like a roofing umbrella 6. So from here, I would strike inward and I kind of roof or crash, and go back to my inward, inward, roof, and inward. Inward, roof, and inward, inward, roof, and inward. Now you don't have to click the sticks, but the clicking would simulate where in the motion I'm crashing through and when I'd be making that contact. Okay, so again, just to review, we have our standard umbrella 6. we have a Redondo 6, and now we've also added this umbrella version, a roofing version, I'm sorry, of umbrella 6. The last one would be, that Guro Dan likes to show, is kind of a high wing version of it. So these become much more of a blocking kind of motion. So when I have my inward, then I block and I have my high wing here while I strike or while I crash. I think when Guro Dan usually does it, he does an inward and has a high wing block with the same weapon that I'm doing the inward strike with, and at the same time I'll have my other hand doing my backhand. Okay, so I'll have my inward, high wing to backhand and inward, inward, high wing and backhand and inward, inward, high wing and back and inward, inward, high wing and backhand and inward. Okay, so the differences would be that in my umbrella 6, I'm strike, 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 and strike, 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 with the weapon traveling around my head. In the Redondo version, I'm striking all the way through, but I'm not necessarily going around my head. I can in a big Redondo motion, but I can also just kind of keep it in front too. So sometimes for people that may have limited shoulder range or mobility, this could be the case that they adjust the umbrella 6 in this way. It could be just for the context or for whatever reason they're keeping it in front. Now when we start to get into more blocking or defensive kind of motions, we'll have the umbrella 6 where I'm crashing through or roofing through. So inward, roof, inward, inward, roof, inward, inward, roof, inward, inward, roof, inward. And then the last version, I'm blocking with a high wing while I hit the backhand. So I'll go inward, high wing and backhand, inward, inward, high wing and backhand, inward, inward, high wing and backhand, inward, inward, high wing and backhand, inward. Okay, so these are the typical variations that we will do in the Inosanto system with the umbrella 6.